Hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age. We're going to traverse the Zertinan Caverns today, which is a level 30-ish, 30-40. Depends on which side you go into, I suppose, but it's a level 30 to 40-ish zone that you can get through fairly early in the game. In fact, you can get into it probably before you're even level 30. You could get into here. It contains not a whole lot in this version. In the original version, it contained a fair few useful gambits, as well as a fair few gambits that basically essentially had no use. But it did have gambits in it. In this version, it does not. It has primarily gear, which, you know, is okay, I guess, if you explore it at the proper level, which I am quite clearly not doing. We are a bit over leveled, because I forgot to do this when it was relevant, but if you explore it at the proper level, it's pretty good for the gear, but otherwise, debatably useful. I feel like my mic might be a little too loud, I'm not sure. There's also a turtle here. It's always here. This is its home. You can fight it. It doesn't really do anything to fight it, I guess. But there you go. It's dead. We killed it. We also leveled up off of it. Hooray! We've made it to the future. Something of note that this cave does contain is an Esper fight. We've already recorded it, but I don't know if it'll go up before or after this video. Probably after this video. But it does contain an Esper fight. It also contains a pathway to the west over there that we'll get to when we get to it that leads to an otherwise inaccessible location. You have to go through the caverns to get to it. But apart from that, there's really not a whole lot going on. There's Sigh Unseeing, there's some gear, there's stuff to fight. That's the gist of the entire area. But we'll give a quick wander through it. Now this is where the Esper fight is. It contains these shambling corpses. I believe it's also the only area here that contains these shambling corpses. But they do exist. You know this is the Esper fight area because the mini-map is corrupted over here, which usually means that something's going down. Also a good place to get rotting flesh or the associated item that those drop. I don't know what it's called, but that sells for a decent amount. Also, it's good to have black magic here. There's a path over there that I cannot get to from this side, so clearly there must be another route there. But before we go that way, it may actually be this way that the route is. There's a save location here, which is the only save location within this area. So if you're traversing this area for an extended period, you're probably going to need to take advantage of that save crystal there. It turns out this is indeed the pathway that we want. I'm just looking around for treasure. There's none here. That's alright. We don't need treasure where we're going, which is this way. So now we're over here. There's a trap there. Someone will probably step on it. What does it do, actually? Just an explosion trap. I don't think most of the enemies within this area will pose a trouble to you. The most irritating one is probably just going to be the horses, the nightmare-style enemies, because they have slow, they teleport a lot. They're mostly just a hassle more so than anything else. We got Slasher, which is just a basic dagger, I believe. Oh, that's not a dagger at all, it's an axe. Thought it was a dagger, but it is not. Anyway. None of this gear is going to be relevant for us because we are over-leveled, but if you go through this area, probably a reasonable time would be after going through the... I hate this. This way. An idiot. I can't traverse this area because it's kind of hard to see in here. But anyway, if you go through this area just after probably the Golmore Jungle segments of the game, you'll be at approximately an appropriate level. More than likely anyway, because you'll probably do Golmore Jungle about level 30 to 35. Curious. there's a rock there that you can push into the sand, which will let you across. It appears that that is the only way. From that side to this side, as we would have needed to have come from that direction to push that rock over to get over here. That's alright. We'll make our way back through this area, killing shambling corpses as we go. Don't really need to, but they're here, so why not? Doesn't really cost me anything but time, I guess. And I have a whole lot of time, so that's not really a problem. These shambling corpses do know, I think, cloying breath. So do be aware of that particular attack from those enemies, but the enemies themselves are pretty weak. There's also these things. Yes, I actually forgot entirely about these enemies that exist in this place. This might be a problem. Ow. This is going to probably be a fairly substantial problem, Balthier. You need to do something or you're going to die horrifically. Does Remedy get rid of that? I don't know if he has the Remedy lures. Let's find out. It does indeed. Fran's dead, so that's always good. Let's bring Pinello out here. Now these enemies I don't think are normally in this area. You can probably tell that they're relatively high level. I believe they show up much later. These preferably have healed me there, but we'll see what we can do. Ash is our tank, so maybe we can get something done here. Never mind. Instead, we're just gonna die. We're just gonna run. We don't like this area anymore. This area is not good. That's a zombie. I forgot about the whole zombie part of this. Please don't kill me. Nope. This is a problem. Let's get Bosch in here. He's the only one left. Protect me, Bosch. But she doesn't have the remedy lure. No. She's probably dead, but we'll see if we can get off a serum on Pinello. We can't. We can't get it. Oh, because she's dead, right? She has to be awake to get the serum. This is correct. Bosch. Not awake, alive. You know what I mean. Yeah, select the new party leader. Pinello, you need a serum, preferably before you die. We're going to attempt to run past those enemies because otherwise we're going to have to fight them because they're just going to be there forever now. She took 0 damage for a second there. Why are you poaching that? You don't need to poach it, you need to live. Alright, we're going to speed the game up, kill these enemies. That dude is immune to something that Bosch is doing. He probably has the fire weapon on. Don't think she got the serum off. Alright. Bosch, you cannot... Oh no, it's immune to poach because he's trying to poach it still. I forgot he has that set up. There we go. Ash just keeps dying and I feel kind of bad for her because she keeps casting decoy on herself. She has no help. It's alright. She's good now, we got it. Please stop trying to poach these things, they're immune to it. It's alright, we got this under control. In fact, I'm going to just take poach off because it's going to do that forever. And a lot of things are immune to poach. And I do feel like I need to lower my mic, so hold on. There we go. Probably could have cut that part of the video out, but you know, that's fine. Anyway, so this area, the only exit from this area appears to be to the west there. So before we go through that little pathway there, let's head this way, because there should be another exit over here, which may go to the same zone as that. And we can bypass those enemies entirely, assuming there's no death incarnate over here. I don't believe that is death incarnate. It is not. It is but a simple skull worm. Now the northeastern part of this comes from the Western Sand. The northwest of this comes from the Sand Sea. I don't remember which part, the western part of the Sand Sea. Namiensa? I don't remember exactly, but... and then, of course, the southern part comes from the Osmone Plains. The southern part is going to be the highest level part of this area. There's also bogeys here. Not by much, but it is also the fastest route to the Esper fight. So it's the route you're most likely to use. Lovely you. 38. Alright. Don't need to worry about imminent death from that particular enemy. Hello. We'll get it controlled, don't worry. Flare is such a great spell. It does take a long time to cast, though, which is rather troubling. Especially since Ash has Bravery. Let's fix that, too. Need to slightly adjust all my gambits, but that's alright. Should have gone back and touched the save point, but that's okay, too. So there's the other zone that we were in before with the Death Incarnate down there. Also that, which is probably the map, which is something I want. So we're probably gonna have to go through that zone, that area down there with those enemies anyway. This is how you get around this place, by the way. There's a certain route, off the top of my head, I don't know what it is, but there's a certain route through here that is optimal because it gives you access to all of the rocks that you can push over. It's probably from the Sand Sea, but don't quote me on that. That's a dead end. Let's fight these. Ash, what are you doing? Casting Decoy and missing 900 times. About standard for Decoy. For general purposes, there's gonna be a lot of general here. Generally don't recommend using Decoy because it takes up so much time trying to cast it. And a lot of the time it doesn't matter who's tanking the enemies because they're not very powerful enemies anyway. Diamond Armlet there. It appears that coming from the Sand Sea is indeed the correct side to come from. Because this should loop us back around to the Wester Sand location. Yeah, which gives us access to the other rock that we saw earlier that we could knock over. The buffs that I would recommend maintaining are Haste, Faith, and Bravery. And then if you're fighting things that you expect to do a large amount of damage, or if you have Protectka and Shelga, you can use those. Otherwise, most of the other buffs, I don't really think it matters very much. So now we should have a full loop through the area. Allows us to access all directions. Indeed we do. Now the problem... we'll need to go that way. We have to somehow get to... just so much damage. It's also this way. We have to somehow get to that chest in that room with the level 70 enemies. Now assuming they're still... well, no, because they'll have reset by this point. Because we've gone through quite a few other rooms, so they'll have reset their positioning. What we can try and do, go this way. Well, this probably won't work either, actually, because we have to go through 2 zones to do it, right? Yeah, that won't work either. We'll just have to do it the difficult way, otherwise known as running through here and trying not to die. Gotta go. Ow. They also know Dispelga, apparently. That's rather irritating. So there we go, we got a map of the Zertinan Caverns that we're going to now continue fleeing. Because those will kill us rather quickly. I don't think there's anything else of importance here. I'll have to check what this zone is called real quick. No, there's nothing else of importance there. It's this area that we need to be in. I don't know where to get there. Is it this way? We'll have to check, so... I mean, we'll have to go through there anyway to see what's up there, so... Go ahead and quad speed it up. Squad peed it. That's a proper phrase. So the only area here that has something of note, if you're a higher level and don't need the gear, is the Canopy of Clay up here. It contains Sight Unseeing, which is very good. It allows you to use an attack. Also a route that way, but there's nothing there, it's just a garbage chest. Allows you to utilize an attack while blinded. So here's this. So we need to be over there, because that goes back to the caverns. And there's another exit of the caverns over here. There it is. And that is the one that is inaccessible by any other location. So we'll traverse there soon, but first we need to go this way. So we have to end up over there, which is going to be a bit of a run. What's the fastest way? Probably south, looks like. These enemies are just the weak level 12 enemies that you see here the first time you come in. If you were following me in the story, while I played through the story, I looked specifically at those frogs, and I think I mentioned that goes to the Zertinan Caverns and we wouldn't be going there yet, but I believe I looked at those frogs specifically and mentioned them when we actually played through the story here. It was quite a long time ago that we did the story in this area. Of course, you know, we're slightly higher level. These enemies actually cannot do damage to us at this point. So this should take us to, I think, the Canopy of Clay. We're about to find out, but I believe this is where it takes us. It does indeed. And the Canopy of Clay will take us the other place we want to go. The Canopy of Clay is extraordinarily low level. In fact, you should probably have gone through this area. I actually forgot that this area was a thing, if you want me to be honest. You should probably go through this area while you're going through the Sand Sea for story purposes, because Sight Unseeing is pretty good. It allows you to not need to worry about removing blind for some characters. God dang it. There it is. Sight Unseeing. The only loot that I believe is useful within the Zertinan Caverns at this point. Now past that way is the rest of the caverns, and the rest of the caverns are very high level, so not recommended if you're going through the Sand Sea. You can see that goes back that way, which is convenient because that is the direction we will be going shortly. Freaking slimes. So many slimes. Oh. Thanks, Ash. I know you got my back. That trap did like 3 damage, I think. So here's the area that is inaccessible by other means. This area in itself, I don't recall having much of note, but it is a thing that exists, and if you're going for achievements, you will have to at some point traverse this area. Because there's an achievement for traversing 100% of the locations in the game. Physically traversing, I don't think getting the map counts. You have to actually walk through them. It's mostly these Bagolies here. This is also a location. We got a turtle shell choker. It's actually not bad. I'll show you what that does. There you go. Enables casting of magics with Gil rather than MP. Bit expensive, but if you have unlimited MP or unlimited Gil at the end game, because there's nothing to spend it on, there's not much of a reason not to use this. But this is also a location for trial mode. Rather early on in trial mode, you fight some Bagolies right here. Anyway. Let's go ahead and make our way back to the caverns, back to that location with the rock that we pushed over, and explore the remainder now of the area. Because that is all that's left, is this location here, which isn't going to contain much of anything that's, you know, new. We've partially traversed it before, but all that this does is it goes to the other part of the Sand Sea. I guess you can technically use the caverns to quickly traverse between a lot of locations, but there's no reason to do that when you can just fly to basically everything and or teleport there. The Zertinan Caverns is one of the few places that you cannot directly teleport to. So this is just the, basic enemies that we've fought before that are in the Sand Sea. Poops you out right down here. So that's the caverns. The only thing of note in this version are, I guess maybe those enemies are always there, I'm not sure. Probably just death incarnate. The only thing of note in this area is right here in the Canopy of Clay, and you can get it pretty early in the game. I just forgot to actually properly explore the Zertinan Caverns when it was relevant, but that's all for this video because everything else within there is essentially worthless unless you're going through it at a proper level, and I'm not. And if you're going through it at a proper level, you're probably picking it up anyway, but if you just want the important stuff from the caverns, make your way to the Canopy of Clay via the Ogier Yinsa Sand Sea. There we go. Right there. That's the one you want to go to. And that will allow you to get Sight Unseeing pretty quickly, and that's really the only thing in there that you want, so. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this area. I'll see you guys next time. We're probably going to go through, it depends on the order I upload these in, but I guess I'll upload this one first, and then we'll go to Naborius Deadlands and Naborius itself. And then after that, we will be traversing the lower levels, if they are unlocked. I'm not sure if they are. I think they are. We'll be traversing the lower levels of the Pharos Tower. So thanks for watching. See you guys next time.